Hey everyone. So today's video is going to be more of an unhinged rant about what I've been going through spiritually during the month of February. And basically, the Lord was showing me what I needed to change and teaching me a lot of lessons, with the main one being how to surrender and learn to let go and give your desires to God. And honestly, I can't even complain about how rough the month of February was because I literally prayed for Him to change my heart. When I tell you at the beginning of February, I was so fed up with how I was acting and the thoughts I was having, the sins I was falling into, and just the general way I was treating God. I was so tired of myself, and I essentially had the classic Paul Romans 7 breakdown, where in the passage he talks about wanting to die because he's just so tired of sinning and falling into that cycle of sin and how he just wants to be separated from his flesh. And I remember at the beginning of last month just breaking down in front of God and begging him to purify my heart, to show me what he didn't like, to show me what he wanted me to change in order to serve others better and to be more godly, to be a Proverbs 31 woman, and also to show me what lessons I can give you guys. Everything that I advise you guys is always going to be based on the word and on my own experiences. So if I ever tell you not to do something, it's probably because I did it and faced the consequences, which I am grateful for because now I can warn you. Now, although last month was a huge storm and learning to surrender wasn't easy, I want to show you guys how I did it and how I found peace in giving up things for the Lord. If a thought or a situation is giving you anxiety, causing you to worry, or making you really stressed, it usually means you have to surrender it. Surrendering to God can mean many things. You could be surrendering a certain situation, a certain person, a certain worry you may have, or in my case, a certain outcome. Last month, I really paid attention to the amount of worries that I had whenever it came to my future. I would play over so many scenarios in my head of what I would do in this situation or that situation, only to realize that I was wasting my time because when I tell you, things will never go the way you expect them to go. And when we fantasize or daydream or anxiously prepare for certain outcomes in our head, we lose focus on what's right in front of us. And this goes for dwelling on your past as well. Last month, a few things from my past came up and I know the Lord was telling me to pay attention on how I would react to them. And what I realized is that when you're so focused on the past or the future, or again, whatever situation you're going through, it causes you to have a sort of tunnel vision where we're so focused on a situation going the way we want it to go that we neglect to see what God is already doing. Because it's so hard to hear God speak to you and see Him work in your life if you've already decided what you want Him to say and what you want Him to do. When the reality is that surrendering to God means allowing His will to be done instead of yours. Holding on to things instead of letting go and giving it to God only traps you. It forces you into this confining box where you're so worried about what's going to happen or if it's going to happen a certain way. And you're drowning through all of these future scenarios instead of just being present and realizing that it's out of your control. And knowing that it's out of our control can be hard. And while I was going through all of these really tough realizations during the month of February, I stumbled across a really good chapter in the Bible that essentially teaches us how to surrender and how to experience God's peace when we're overthinking or stressed about how things are going to turn out. We are going to be talking about the story of Hannah in 1 Samuel, who is a wife that, despite deeply desiring to have a child, is not able to have one. Hannah is tormented years after years, constantly crying about the fact that she is not able to have a child. And being able to bear a child is something that she doesn't really have any control over in terms of when or if it can even happen, which I'm sure, at least for me, is something that's completely relatable, especially if you're worried about your future. Because at the end of the day, we don't have complete control over that. But what I want to highlight is what Hannah does given these unmet expectations. In verse 9 to 10, it says that Hannah gets up and goes to pray, with verse 10 saying, Hannah was in deep anguish, crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. Throughout the rest of the passage, she cries out to the Lord and is completely honest with Him about what she is feeling. And honestly, I feel like it's something that we need to practice more. When you're coming to God about your issues or the things that you're struggling to control, one of the best ways to feel relieved is to completely let it out. You don't have to hide or neatly wrap up those feelings before you go and pray to God because He desires honesty. He wants you to be real with Him. While you should always do this with respect, I have found that just being real with God is one of the fastest ways that you can experience some sort of peace because there's no brick wall. There's no pretending like everything is okay when you go to Him. He's seeing the real, the raw you, the you that He already knows is in there. He's just waiting for you to be honest with Him. But continuing on with Hannah, she essentially surrenders her desire to have a child to the Lord. And after letting go and giving her expectations to God, she immediately feels a sense of emotional relief. She's able to eat and be at peace. Now, the reason why Hannah experiences that relief and that peace after surrendering her desires to God is because she let go of what the outcome would be. Now, that's something I know not a lot of us want to hear because if you're like me, you want a clear answer as to how everything's going to work out. But when I tell you throughout this whole month, I have found that there is such a beauty in letting God do the work for you. Allowing Him to be in control can seem so terrifying, but it is the most freeing thing ever. Like Hannah, we have to be able to surrender things, knowing that we can trust God even if we don't get our way, even if things go south or doesn't work out the way we hoped. We can know that because it's in God's will, it was for His good or for our protection or because our motives are wrong or because He has something better or because maybe He just wants you to wait, like with Hannah. But regardless, if we want true peace, we cannot be holding on to things that we have no control over. That includes your future, your past, how people will view you, how a certain scenario is going to play out, how a certain problem is going to be solved, or whether it'll get worse. The amount of things that we can take on and worry about are endless. And trust me, I know, because during February, I think I worried about every single little thing possible. I know the Lord allowed me to go through that for a reason. And since I've surrendered things to Him, I can't tell you the amount of peace I felt just knowing that He has it under control. Because one thing we forget is that our Father is faithful. He is trustworthy and He wants to give you the desires of your heart. And please know that those desires are going to align with His will. And if He's not giving you something, He's either asking you to be patient or asking you to check your motives. Because sometimes the things that we want are not actually good for us or can harm our relationship with Him in the long run. Even though I have peace now, I just want to make it clear that surrendering is not a one-time thing. It's something that you have to do daily, even multiple times a day, because those thoughts of wanting to take control will creep in. But it's not as annoying as it seems, because again, the peace that you feel will make it worth it. So yeah, that was my little rant about how the Lord really taught me to surrender. And I really encourage you to go into 1 Samuel 1 and really look at Hannah's story, because I honestly feel like we can all find some comfort in knowing that when it comes to surrendering, that people in the Word also struggled with it. If you need prayer or would like to suggest a video topic, both of those forms will be in the description, as well as my Instagram if you need someone to talk to. I will be praying for you. Please take care and remember how much God loves you.